Hello, Centralinos! I am Ethel Oida and welcome to the Counselor Speaks podcast. Today's session is one of the initiatives of the Guidance and Counseling Center entitled Centralino SOAR, or Students Optimized Academic Resilience. It aims to help students adapt or develop a more effective study habits while transitioning from the traditional classroom type of learning to online studying. There were lots of changes that took place since the community quarantine in the country, and the usual way of studying became complex for some. Yet, our situation today also offers opportunities to develop creative ways of learning new habits and in engaging in a more productive and efficient study routine. The key to becoming an effective student is learning not study harder but smarter. This becomes truer as you advance in your education. An hour or two of studying a day is usually sufficient to make it through high school with satisfactory grades. But come college, it seems like there aren't enough hours in the day to get all your studying in if you don't know how to study smarter. You have to build effective habits. Habits are the small decisions you make and actions you perform every day. Your life today is essentially the sum of all your habits. What you repeatedly do ultimately forms the person you are and the things you believe in, especially the personality that you portray. Your habits can actually transform your life. So make sure that you devise a strategy wherein you can pick good habits you can sustain and help you jumpstart your study life. According to James Clear on how to build a new habit, it starts with incredibly small habits. Make it so easy you can't say no. When most people struggle to build new habits, they say something like, I just need more motivation, or, oh, how I wish I had as much willpower as you do. This is the wrong approach. According to research, willpower is like a muscle. It gets fatigued as you use it throughout the day. Another way to think of this is that your motivation recedes and flows. It rises and falls. Stanford professor B.J. Fogg calls this the motivation wave. You can solve this problem by picking a new habit that is easy enough that you don't need motivation to do it. For instance, rather than starting reading one book per day, start with few chapters or topics per day. Rather than trying to accomplish all projects in one sitting, start by accomplishing one project per day. Make it easy enough that you can get it done without motivation. Next is to increase your habit in very small ways. Rather than trying to do something amazing from the beginning, start small and gradually improve. Along the way, your willpower and motivation will increase, which will make it easier to stick to your habit for good. As you build up, break habits into chunks. If you continue adding 1% each day, then you'll find yourself increasing very quickly within 2 or 3 months. It is important to keep each habit reasonable so that you can maintain momentum and make the behavior as easy as possible to accomplish. When you slip, get back on track quickly. Top performers make mistakes, commit errors, and get off track just like everyone else. The difference is that they get back on track as quickly as possible. You shouldn't expect to fail, but you should plan for failure. Take some time to consider what will prevent your habit from happening. Ask yourself, what are some things that are likely to get in your way? What are some daily emergencies that are likely to pull you off course? How can you plan to work around these issues? Or at least, how you can bounce back quickly from them and get back on track? You just need to be consistent, not perfect. Focus on building the identity of someone who never misses a habit twice. And of course, be patient. Stick to a pace you can sustain. Learning to be patient is perhaps the most critical skill of all. You can make incredible progress if you are consistent and patient. If you are aiming a flat one during the prelim period, you should probably go slower than you think. If you're adding a lot of academic responsibilities in school, you should probably start with fewer than you expect to handle. Patience is everything. Do things you can sustain. New habits should feel easy, especially in the beginning. If you stay consistent and continue increasing your habit, it will get hard enough fast enough. It always does. If you want to learn more about this concept, you may read the book entitled Atomic Habits by James Clear. Alright, so at this point, let me share with you 5 tips to optimize academic resilience. Number 1 is to build a routine. Set boundaries within the online classroom. The new learning setup might be difficult for you as you might feel overwhelmed and feel that things are getting out of control. It might take time for you to adapt to the new normal, but being able to know the tasks that you need to do at home and at school can actually be helpful in organizing your schedule. Make a list or a timetable to help you accomplish your desired goals, and make sure to inform your family members about your class schedule to minimize distraction and to maintain focus. Number 2 is to create a home study space. Psychologists have found that one's environment can actually have a significant effect on the quality of their study time. To make learning more efficient, you may customize your study space by choosing a specific location conducive for learning. Number 3 is to develop self-learning plan by practicing effective study habits. You might want to utilize different academic learning platforms or resources, or you may use the answer method. A stands for Ask, Explain, and Connect. Make a list of questions that you need to learn, such as listing the topics, research about it, and try to connect the things you've learned into real-life situations. N stands for no cramming. Spread out all your study activities over time. Learn to distribute the tasks you need to finish. Instead of studying the whole topic for one day, try to do chunking by breaking the lessons into smaller topics. S stands for switch. Distributing topics across study session, but also mixing up the order of materials. Make use of Pomodoro technique, wherein you can choose a topic or task and study it for 25 minutes, and then take short breaks in between and switch for another task or topic you want to learn. This will actually help you learn on how to work together with time and eliminate burnout. W stands for words and visuals. Combining verbal materials and visuals can give you 2 ways of understanding and recalling the material content. You may modify and use these by assessing yourself on what type of learner are you, such as being visual, auditory, read or write, and kinesthetic. For it to be more effective, try to engage more senses into your study habits. Next is examples. Collect different examples from your teachers, textbooks, and daily life. It is all about integrating what you have learned and applying it to yourself. And lastly, recall what you know. Do practice tests. This can be the best way to recall the topics you have learned. Always remember, Centralinos, there are no real requirements to effective learning other than your willingness and a dash of self-discipline. Identify your hows and your whys. Understanding your reasons why you are going to devote time to learning something and what activities you should be engaged in on a daily basis. It takes a person to practice self-learning through discipline and having self-motivation. Number 4, reward yourself, or what we call as artificial positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is a fundamental principle of human behavior that says a behavior is more likely to happen and will continue to happen when it's followed by something enjoyable or rewarding. For instance, you may feel that you did your best in reviewing for your examinations, but unfortunately, you haven't met your desired score. So in order to continue being motivated, you may try to personally reward yourself. Here's how you might want to do it. Choose a small but enjoyable reward, like your favorite comfort food. Eat chocolates or perhaps drink your favorite milk tea. Or you might want to watch movies that has been in your watch list, or reward yourself with good number of hours of sleep. Rewarding yourself is like celebrating little victories, which will help you boost your self-esteem and makes you love and appreciate yourself more. And lastly, practice physical and psychological self-care by accepting things that are beyond your control. Be patient and kind to yourself. Practice gentle self-talk. If your goals are good ones, you probably have more motivation than you realize. However, you must be mindful as you may be wasting huge chunks of it. And one of the biggest culprits behind wasted motivation is our own self-talk. Self-talk refers to our habits of talking to ourselves, both what we say to ourselves in our own head and how we say it. If your habitual automatic self-talk tends to be negative, harsh, and judgmental, it's going to produce a lot of difficult emotion like guilt, anxiety, frustration, and sadness, all of which sap you of your natural motivation to reach your goals. This means that one of the best, if counterintuitive ways to stay motivated is to stop robbing yourself of motivation with overly negative self-talk and instead create a new habit of gentle self-talk. Self-care is any activity that we do deliberately in order to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical health. Although it's a simple concept in theory, it's something we very often overlook. Good self-care is key to improve mood and reduce anxiety. It's also key to a good relationship with oneself and others. Here are 7 self-care tips during the pandemic. Number 1 is to eat regularly. It may sound simple, but getting enough nutrition gives us the energy we need to get through the days, think clearly and quickly, and sleep better at night. If regular meals are difficult, try to keep a stash of healthy protein-packed snacks on hand. Number 2 is to keep moving. Even if you don't have time for your usual workout, getting in 15 minutes of physical activity can improve your quality of sleep and help reduce stress. Squeeze in exercise where you can take the stairs, walk the dog, or jog with your kids as they bike. Number 3 is to prioritize sleep. Hold your sleep time sacred as an important part of your self-care. It's tempting to stay up a few extra minutes to watch that show or check social media or play games on your phone, but don't. Your sleep is a critical part of restoring your mind and body and recharging for the next day. Number 4, practice pausing. Whether using mindfulness or taking deep breaths, taking a moment to pause can help center you back to the present moment when stress and anxiety are high. Consider mindfulness meditation apps like Calm or Headspace to help you release tension and center yourself on the now. Try paced breathing exercises, for example, 4-square breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, also called belly breathing or balloon breathing, to increase oxygen intake and relax your body and mind. Number 5 is to balance your mental intake. There is a lot happening in the world. It is easy to feel like you need to be constantly connected in order to not miss out on what's happening. While staying informed is helpful, be careful not to overwhelm yourself with information either. Take time to unplug and focus on things that are uplifting and or soothing. Number 6 is to check in on yourself. Take time throughout your day to stop what you're doing, to notice what is happening within and around you. Try to be curious and non-judgmental with whatever shows up as you consider what you are feeling and what you might need at the moment. And number 7, use your support. Now is the time to activate your support network if you haven't already. Reach out to others to tell them how you're doing. Ask for emotional and practical support when you need it. Consider a professional counselor to have your thoughts and feelings heard. Alright, so there you have it, Centralinos. I hope this session has helped you in adjusting to your current study routine by optimizing and integrating the different academic resiliency tips I shared with you earlier. So to summarize, these are setting boundaries within the online classroom by means of building a schedule or a routine. Next is to create a study space. Develop self-learning plan by practicing effective study habits such as the answer method. Ask, explain, and connect. No cramming. Switch using the Pomodoro technique. Use of words and visuals. Gathering examples and applying it to your real-life situations. And recall what you have learned through a practice test. Also remember to reward yourself through artificial positive reinforcement and of course, practicing physical and psychological self-care through gentle self-talk, eating regularly, engaging in 15 minutes of physical activity, sleeping, practicing mindfulness either by utilizing meditation apps or through paced breathing exercises, balancing your information intake, checking in on yourself, and asking for professional support. We would love to hear your thoughts about this session by posting your comments on our official Facebook page. That's MCU Guidance and Counseling Center. Or help us reach and help more Centralinos by liking and sharing this podcast and or our YouTube channel, The Counselor Speaks. You may also download the simplified PDF copy of all the things discussed in this session. Stay tuned for future sessions with me, Ethel Oida, here in The Counselor Speaks. Stay home, stay safe. See you soon, Centralinos.